You're listening to a Cup of Resilience podcast with Tamiko Drummond. Real topics, real people, real solutions.
Hello, everyone. Guess what? It is a Cup of Resilience time. My name is Tamiko Drummond, and I'm known as the brand success coach. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello. It has been a minute, but guess what? I am back. My name is Tamiko Drummond, known as the brand success coach. Once you choose us, they will never stop talking about you. You are watching my podcast called A Cup of Resilience, and I have this amazing person in the building today, Miss Vonda, quote unquote, Vonda Miles. If you are on LinkedIn, you need to reach out to her and get connected. Vonda, I'm super excited. Thank you so much for being here. And our topic today is actually mothers navigating the pandemic and finding your superpowers. And Vonda amazingly has been able to navigate that as a mother. And having gone through her own story of resilience. And I just want to introduce you right now to Miss Vonda Miles. Woo! Hey, Vonda, welcome.
Thank you for this amazing intro, Tamiko.
You're so welcome.
Everybody for this intro. You're at home, working from home. This is a new reality. Been doing it for a while. So again, thank you, Miss Tamiko.
You are absolutely welcome. Listen, Vonda, let the people know, how do we know each other?
Well, we have known each other since the beginning. Actually, before the pandemic, I was the VP of Communications with National Association of African Americans in HR. Tamiko was the VP of Digital Marketing Strategies. Thanks to Tamiko, we had group board meetings, team meetings. She and I collaborated a lot on the website, the newsletters, teaching me a lot of different skill sets in the newsletter and MailChimp. So, and in addition to some very, very important coaching sessions with her company, Lotus Consulting and Marketing, LLC. So that is one of the reasons I am here, to be a part of a Couple of Resilience.
Right. And thank you so much for joining us. So give the people a little backstory about what happened to you as far as, the pandemic happened. Here's 2020 and there's a pandemic. You have a young child. How did you navigate that?
So unfortunately, due to the pandemic, a lot of companies went through a lot of acquisitions and mergers. Warner Media was bought out by AT&T. It happened right at the beginning of the pandemic. So it went very fast. And also 2 months later, maybe 2.5 months later, my son was going to elementary school and went through the pandemic. So literally in the middle of the pandemic and losing my job, I had to literally gather my thoughts and figure things out very quickly. I was at a W-2 job, a W-2 employer for 14 years.
Wow.
And my skill set was based in media communications. So that is a different skill set as opposed to HR or accounting and other industries. It is a very different industry, a very important niche. So I tried to use my skill set of volunteering, philanthropy, and communications. And when you volunteer with people, you're always in the mindset, such as you're on LinkedIn, of connecting with different people. It's one of those easy platforms where you're able to connect with different people.
Right.
So I had to think, even when we were still doing NAHR, I was involved with the board, but then I had to jump ship and go into a crisis mode of, okay, now I have to utilize my time of finding employment.
Of course.
It was just something that I couldn't prepare for.
Right. And then on top of it, and my hat's off to all the mothers who had, and fathers too, that had to now navigate homeschooling. So usually you're used to dropping your child off, and now you have to try to figure out, okay, now you're the teacher. You're the teacher.
Exactly what happened. So I had to become parent, employee, applicant for employee,
right,
a teacher. At the same time, no training.
Right. So let's kind of talk about that. So you were able to navigate, and obviously your son has done well. He's moving on to the next grade, et cetera. So kudos to you, Mom. But during this pandemic, and what you actually found out through our coaching session is, and I'm going to tell you all, y'all need to lean in. Listen, what Vonda realized or didn't realize is her superpower is actually getting people who want to be elected officials elected. Okay, she has an amazing skill of I don't know, she has like politics power, voting power. I don't know what you would call it, but she has that experience. And do they still have that billboard of you actually on one of these highways?
Not anymore, but when I tell you that was a surprise from Junior League of Atlanta,
right?
Literally, the billboard was for me doing community service in January 2020, and I had no idea. In my Warner Media shirt, literally volunteering. I had already got laid off at that time, but I never stopped giving back and being involved in the community. It gave me something to do.
Right.
It is kind of like into politics. Remember, we would have coaching sessions, and I'm like, Tamiko, what is it I need to do? And you gave me the idea of retooling. Re-updating my website.
Right.
Logo. Just really retooling and having specific things in place. I've literally had to change everything about my life. Literally.
Well, and actually, what you're doing now, though, Vonda, is actually staring more towards what your true passion is, right? And so sometimes we go through whatever it is, so you feel like you're knocked down, but in actuality, it's like a level set, so that you could actually walk in your purpose. And so I think that's what's been happening. So you're able to find your superpower of being this amazing political, I don't even know what you would call yourself.
I myself. Thank you for telling me that. It's actually, I started as a canvasser.
Okay.
Representative Zelma Lopez, who won District 86 in August. That was a 7-month campaign, and I fell into it because, like you said, it was from volunteering. I'm passionate about civil rights, justices, making sure that making sure everyone is equality. We've been, about the platforms people talking about, the DEI platforms. It started with that and just doing research about what was going on in my local county. I did embrace and helped another female who previously ran in 2017 in Sandy Springs, but I wanted to run in my own county to know more about the constituents in my neighborhood, my personal representatives. And that's when I started to do that throughout the pandemic. I had to use my communication skills working with our campaign director, and we had to canvas in the midst of COVID. How do you knock on people's doors, leave literature? You can't put in the mailbox because that's against the law. And be able to connect with voters of all races in the midst of the different things that was going on, such as George Floyd and different things you saw on television.
Exactly.
So I started to really find that challenge. I accepted it, and I love it, and I do.
That's awesome. But we appreciate your service. So what would you be able to tell people on ways to actually navigate the pandemic? I know we're coming out of the pandemic right now, but what tips can you give anyone on ways to navigate the pandemic, but then end up finding your superpower?
So one of the first things that I did, again, like you said, sometimes you have to volunteer and take a step back and retool. So for me, I had to change everything I was doing, not just from the people who I spoke to before. I had to make the transition from a W-2 to a 1099. And if anyone works on a W-2, it is a different lifestyle going to a 1099. You're responsible for everything. You're responsible for your invoicing, making sure you pay your taxes, making sure you are receiving your worth. So one of the things I did when we spoke through our coaching session is making sure that I was doing my research on my talent and finding my worth. And I had to do that. And it hurt when I would talk to different clients and they would negotiate pricing. And I'm like, wow, I can't do that because I have to pay federal, I have to pay state, and I would like to have some money left for myself.
Right. Listen, and let me tell you, you don't even have to go that far and tell them anything. Like these are my prices, right?
And that's what people in my industry started telling me. So some of the same people who are small business owners,
right?
You don't even have to do that, Vonda. When you're in this business, it's what you do. So I started to volunteer at different organizations. I was always a part of Junior League of Atlanta. Like it's valuable things that you learn, project management.
Right.
Like now I'm the editor-elect of Peachtree Papers. We're literally editing 17 articles, batches, working with Atlanta Magazine. Again, this is a volunteer organization, but the skill set, you're retooling, such as we discussed.
Exactly.
Working for communications for Representative William Bodie.
Right.
Me working on Zoma Lopez, actually, she beat out an incumbent who was in office for 30 years. And so when the General Assembly was like, well, what did she do? She's never been in office before. How did y'all do that?
Wow.
To do the communications for Representative William Bodie, which I'm doing part-time.
Right.
So I'm still in the midst of finding full-time employment. But one of the things that I know now, maybe the W-2 9-to-5, that's not the only route to.
That's not it.
Money. You have to think, retool, doing a website, which I'm doing. You know, we've discussed it.
And just really, so I think, and I believe that once you actually know what your passion is, your true purpose, you have to start walking in your purpose, because then that's when you start aligning with everything else that you need, because you have everything that you need is already within you. So sometimes we get knocked down, right? But you get back up and you just have to keep moving forward, keep that momentum going, one foot in front of the other. And I promise you, you'll find your way, you know? So whether or not you believe in a higher power, but I believe that once you are walking in your purpose, everything that you need lines up. And so your purpose and passion actually is your superpower is helping people to get elected for causes that you certainly believe on. So I would say keep going, full speed ahead in that lane, because you have truly found your superpower. So was there anything else that you wanted to let the people know? Was there another tip?
Yes, one of the other tips that you and I discussed, and I would say this for anybody making the transition from W-2 to 1099, please do your research of what your talent, your value, your worth is. Have a contract. Have a simple template, do the Googling, and just find out to make sure there's some type of paperwork or an invoice to be able to show when you do your taxes, to show your LLC, because word of mouth does not work when you're trying to pay bills. You need to make sure you understand your worth. And definitely please keep connecting with people in your industry. Go outside and challenge yourself to do something that you didn't think you could do. I fell into my superpower, and I am extremely happy to work with constituents, be the constituent and political outreach director for Representative William Bodie. He is currently running for Georgia Labor Commission, and it's going to be a challenging job, but I feel confident to do that. And it's good to have a team around you and consistent coaching. Mentorship, it does make a difference. Be a good listener. And that's something I'm learning as we continue to have our coaching sessions.
All right, listen. All right, so Vonda, how do people get in touch with you? So if there's someone out there that is actually thinking about running for office, you do some consulting about what steps they need to take. How do they get in touch with you?
Yes, one of my main forms, one of the best platforms to always come back to is LinkedIn. You can find me Shavonda, Shabonda Miles. And you're welcome to find me on Instagram, Vonda, Vonda _MONE, Vonda _Monet, just as you see in my name on the StreamYard. I'm using both of these platforms to be able to have business. I would like to be able to make sure people have more than one way to reach me as I still continue to build my website.
All right, everyone. So, as you heard from her, you can definitely reach out to her on LinkedIn at Shavonda, Shavonda Miles on LinkedIn. And what did you say? Vonda underscore
Monet. Yes.
Monet, Mone, on IG?
Instagram. Yeah, that's
Instagram.
correct.
All right. Do you want to leave the people with a quote? One last thought?
Yes, one of my favorite quotes, Maya Angelou. If you ever have time, please learn about her life story. It is a really inspiring story. But one of my favorite quotes by her, which in the midst of this pandemic and being able to find resilience, is nothing will work unless you do. No matter what you go through, and the pandemic is. I'm not the only one who had to get on unemployment or social programs, but I never stopped working.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up to 1 a.m. sometimes answering emails, writing talking points for a speech, writing an article. So what Maya Angelou said, nothing will work unless you do. If you don't work, you're not going to see progress.
Right. That's awesome. And so we appreciate you, Vonda, for coming on the Cup of Resilience, talking about mothers navigating through the pandemic. And actually, everyone, Vonda actually wrote this article in, what was it,
Lifestyle, yes, Lifestylish magazine, and Instagram is underscore lifestylish and Instagram.com.
Right. So everyone, reach out to her, especially if you're in the political arena and need someone on your team. That is her superpower, and I promise you. Well, I can't promise you. Listen, just reach out to her, okay? So thank you so much for joining us on A Cup of Resilience with Miss Vonda Miles, Shavonda Monet. So please reach out to her on LinkedIn again and on IG. And again, my name is Tamiko Drummond. And thank you so much. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye.